See how you look once I can see you over.
Hey, how are you? All right, it is 7 o'clock, and I am definitely respectful of people's time, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So today you are going to be hearing lecture number 2, and lecture number 2 is about building small yet powerful habits. So, for those that are just tuning in, I am Dr. Kina, and we are lecturing on the Glow Up Guide, 4 weeks to a healthier living lifestyle. So, last week we touched on a few different things that were related to what does it mean to be healthy. And you were to read chapter 1 in the text, and there was a couple of assignments that were due, and we are going to now delve into how we can build small yet powerful habits that's going to help us on to our healthier living lifestyle. So, the first question that I would like to start off with is, why do you feel that most people fail at sticking to habits? So, comment in the chat. Why do you feel that most people have difficulty sticking to habits and they tend to fail at them? So, let's see what you all say in the comments. Okay, let's see what we have here. Let's see. What do we think? Pressure to succeed? Absolutely. Time management, that's a really good one. Absolutely. And so, again, good evening. I am streaming on both YouTube and TikTok. So, if you see me kind of moving side to side, that's what I'm doing. So, those comments that you made so far are absolutely correct. And I have somebody that says, not ready. You are absolutely correct. Lack of discipline. Very good. And every single comment that you all made so far was spot on. But one of the main reasons that people fail at sticking to habits is the fact that they have unrealistic expectations. Give me a yes in the comments if you think that sometimes people fail at sticking to habits because they have unrealistic expectations. So, what does that mean? They aim for, I want to lose 100 pounds in 30 days instead of trying to lose 2 to 3 pounds in a week. Or I want to aim for a full workout routine instead of just starting with something small, right? So that's what it is. Sometimes we tend to set our aim entirely too big. We set our goal too big, and then it becomes unrealistic. When we hit one major barrier or a small barrier, then we tend to feel like we're failing. And then after that, we kind of give up. Another one, which somebody mentioned, which was spot on, which was lack of consistency. Okay. And that could also be due to us having unrealistic goals. So it's when your goals are unrealistic, it's definitely overwhelming, and it's difficult to become consistent over time. And then we can also fail at trying to stick to habits because we're not tying habits to our everyday routine. So we miss what we call habit stacking opportunities. Okay. So, again, if you're just tuning in, today's lecture is about building small yet powerful habits. And you want to stick around till the end where I give you one of the best habit stacking routines that you can do for weight loss. So you'll definitely want to stay tuned till the end. All right. So Now we're going to talk about something that is called a 2-minute rule for building habits. And this concept was introduced by an author named James Clear in his book called Atomic Habits. And he says that if it takes 2 or less than 2 minutes to do it, then just do it. Okay. So that I want you to kind of think about that for a moment. So, for example, instead of saying, I want to read more books or I want to read more, maybe you will start by saying, I want to read one page before I go to bed. Okay. So that one page is definitely going to take you less than 2 minutes to do. So when you think about reading more, you're talking about a goal, but the goal is not really specific, which we'll get into later on in another lecture. The goal is not specific. So reading more what? Reading more books, reading more pages, reading more, literature. It's not really specific. So when you say, I want to read one page before I go to bed, that's specific and that is manageable and it takes less than 2 minutes to do. Okay. So that is something that you can definitely try to do. So, why does this work? Because it makes the habits that you're trying to do more manageable. It makes it more manageable and easy to start. And then it helps to reduce the overall resistance. Because if you say, I want to read more, and you got a book that's this large, that makes it that becomes a barrier, it becomes an obstacle, and then it becomes something that you may not necessarily want to do. Okay. So this is why you want to try to break your goals down into smaller bite-sized chunks that you can actually do. And of course, this is something that you would have a little key that you would have received in the book in chapter 1, because I talk about making small changes or small habits and things like that, because small steps lead to huge momentum, right? So you have to start somewhere. Every small step, even the tiniest one, helps for you to progress. Okay. So I want you to kind of think about that in terms of habits. So in the chat, I want you to tell me, what is one small habit that you've tried to build over the course of some time, but you maybe have struggled with? What is a habit that you've tried to build, but you've somewhat struggled with? Comment in the chat. What is one habit that you have tried to do, but yet you have struggled with? Let's see what you all have come up with. Small habit. All right, getting to bed at a decent time. Also waking up earlier. Okay, that's excellent. We definitely want to do that. Eating dinner at 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Very good. That's definitely a habit that we could definitely improve upon. Reading more. Okay, very good. All right. So those are absolutely some excellent examples of some habits that we can do. So let's see if we can figure out how we can improve upon those. So why is it that you believe that smaller goals often lead to bigger goals? What do you think about that? Why do you believe that smaller goals help you to lead to bigger success? What do you think? Why do you think that starting or smaller goals helps you to lead to bigger success? Smaller goals. And don't worry about if you think the answer is wrong or anything like that, because we're going to get a little bit more into it. Okay. Why is it sometimes that bigger goals, okay, so short goals build confidence and it's easier to take a smaller goal versus a lot. Very good. Very good. Excellent. And you all are spot on. So when you think about bigger goals, when you start too big, bigger goals can also sometimes lead to failure. So for example, if you start out with a goal saying, I want to run 5 miles every single morning, that is a massive goal. Okay. Especially if you're just starting out, that would be something that could be difficult to do. However, if you start off small and say, I want to walk for 5 minutes every day, then that is a smaller goal that will, of course, help you to reach that bigger goal. And then walking for minutes or something every day, can it turn to running for 5 minutes? And then that's how you can kind of increase your goals that way. So small wins, of course, help to create identity change. You start to identify with the person that you're trying to become. So, for example, yep, leads to bigger goals, no problem. So smaller goals helps you to improve your identity, so you become the person who wants to move more. So you become, again, from last week with positive affirmations, I am someone who moves daily, right? So you don't have to run 5 miles every day. Just the fact that you all are getting up and you're being more active for 5 minutes, that counts. So it also reinforces that something's called a habit loop. So you start with a cue, that cue becomes a routine, and then that routine turns into a reward. And this is something that we definitely want to improve upon. So again, like you all mentioned, you want to take something that's a massive goal that might actually seem like it's out of reach, and you want to break it down into something that's smaller pieces, something that is a little bit more easier for you to maintain, easier for you to do. So think of it like eating a steak, right? So if you buy a huge steak, you're not going to eat that huge steak all in one sitting. You might take that steak and break it up into smaller pieces until the steak is gone, right? All right, so now we've talked about that. So now let's talk about the habit stacking that I mentioned earlier. So, habit stacking, in essence, is where you pair new habits with habits that you already do. So, habits that are already into your existing routine. Okay, so for example, if you are someone who drinks coffee every single morning, if that's a habit that you do every single morning, there are some things that you could pair with that. Okay, so one of the habits that you have is already part of your existing routine. So what you can do is add something to that existing routine, and that is what is called habits or habit stacking. So if you drink coffee every single day, then there's something that you can do to pair with it, such as stretch. So maybe while your coffee is brewing, you could stretch. Okay, so then that way you have definitely included something additional to what you have already created as an existing routine. Or you brush your teeth every single morning, right? So, and you brush your teeth possibly every single evening. So when you brush your teeth, do 5 squats before you brush your teeth. You're going to brush your teeth anyway, because that is a habit or a routine that you have created that you don't even necessarily think about. So now add something to that to make your, habits a little bit better. Okay. And it works because it helps to remove something that's called decision fatigue. You don't have to think about it because it's already part of your everyday routine. And so, just like brushing your teeth or brewing your coffee in the morning, it becomes habit. Okay. What do you think about that? Comment in the chat. What do you think about that suggestion on habit tapping or habit stacking? What do you think? Comment in the chat. Is this something that you think that you could do based on the routine that you have every single day anyway? What do you think? Again, habit stacking is a good thing because it makes success feel less effortless, right? I love that. I'm going to implement it this week. Yay, very good. We love to hear that. I love that concept. Very good. All right, so we are definitely going to try to do that. So what is a habit? I want you to post, because again, we have to hold each other accountable, right? So what is a habit that you can stack into something right now that you do daily? What is a habit? So think about something that you do right now that you don't even necessarily think about that you do right now. What is a habit that you can pair with that? So post that in the chat. Let's try to hold each other accountable. So for example, if you brush your teeth, what is something that you can do before you brush your teeth? Okay. Or while you're brushing your teeth, you can squat while you're brushing your teeth, right? What is something else? If you drink your coffee every day, what is something that you can pair with drinking your coffee? After you eat dinner, what is something that you can pair with after you eat dinner? Okay. So let's see. What is something that you can do? And then I'll give you a couple of examples of things that you can add or pair together. So again, the question is, what is a habit that you can add to something that you're already doing? So what's something that you already do into your existing routine? Okay, so yes, brushing your teeth. So something that you already do into your routine. What is something that you can pair with it? All right, so we have doing squats. What is something that you can pair with it? And again, you don't have to think about it, right? So it's not something that you will have to, put too much thought into. Okay, so while we're still waiting for the comments to come in, I can help to give you some more. Okay, so reading with coffee, very good. If you're going to drink your coffee anyway, right, might as well do something that you want to improve upon. So the example that I gave in terms of squats while brushing your teeth is something that we could do related to fitness. And of course, it works every day because you're brushing your teeth anyway. And so adding this quick movement to this, to your already brushing your teeth, is going to make the move that you're doing automatic. Now, say one of your goals, of course, is to increase hydration. You want to be able to drink more water. So while you're making your coffee, drink a full glass of water while you're waiting on your coffee to brew, right? So that is another habit stacking skill or habit stacking tool that you can do. You're already drinking your coffee, you're already brewing. So while your coffee is brewing, drink some water first. And so then that way that helps to improve your hydration. Now, say for instance, if you want to improve mindfulness, you want to try to be more in the moment, right? Most of us are kind of ripping and running, going throughout the day, and we don't actually take time to stop and smell the roses. We don't actually take time to be more mindful of what's going on. So if you want to improve mindfulness, so maybe your current habit is checking your phone when you wake up. The first thing that we do when we wake up is we reach over and we try to grab our phone. So instead of doing that, take 3 deep breaths before you open any apps, right? So if you know that your habit is going to be reaching right to your phone anyway, right? Because that's what most of us do when we get up, we reach and grab straight from the phone. So instead of us reaching for our phones, we can take some deep breaths and just try to become more with the moment, right? Okay. And it works because you create a mindful moment before you start diving into all of the red notifications and things like that, right? All right, so then maybe we talked yesterday about being grateful and improving our gratitude for things. So instead of, or while you're sitting down for dinner, which we do every day anyway, we sit down for dinner, maybe you should start saying, or you could say one thing that you're grateful for before you take your first bite. You're going to eat anyway. So, what is a habit that you can start to do before you take your first bite? And so that would help you with gratitude and reflection. And then lastly, productivity. So we're always either on a phone call or on a Zoom call or something like that. So maybe if you want to increase your productivity, write down one quick thing that you can do tomorrow before your call ends or after your call ends. As soon as you end, write down something that you can do tomorrow. And it works because it helps you kind of become or stay organized for the next day. Okay. So you want to try to start with just one habit stack because you don't want to, of course, become overwhelmed with those things. Start with one habit stack first, and then you can build on it later on. So let me know in the comments if you think some of these examples are things that you can try. So just comment yes if these are some these are some habit stacks that you could possibly try, which could help change behavior. So all you have to do is comment yes. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the next part of our lecture, which discusses consistency over perfection. Now, a lot of us are perfectionists, right? We want everything to be perfect. We want everything perfect right now. And when it's not perfect, or when we mess up, or we make the smallest mistake, to us, it often feels like a failure, and then we want to quit, right? And so this is why we want to try to practice consistency over perfection. Okay. Some of us may feel like if we miss a day in terms of you exercise, you didn't put this huge plan out. I'm going to work out 7 days a week. And if you miss a day, you just like, I failed because I missed a day. But missing a day doesn't mean failure. Okay. So instead of quitting altogether, which sometimes that's what we do, instead of quitting, you just restart the next day. Okay. So you want to be able to focus on or try to focus on never missing twice. So, first, you want to make sure that your goals are not so massive to where they become unattainable. You want to make sure that you break your goals down into smaller pieces. And then instead of trying to practice being perfect, just try or practice being consistent. So, for example, if you forget to drink water today, try to add an extra cup tomorrow, right? So try to never miss twice. Okay. So that is an example that we can do. Now, you want to also try to increase something that are called micro habits, small habits that we can try to do. So, in terms of physical health, like we talked about yesterday, try to take the stairs instead of the elevator. Try to do one push up before going to bed and try to drink water before your coffee is, done and you start drinking on your coffee. So that helps to improve your physical health. So instead of saying, I'm going to do 100 push ups by the end of the day, start off small. Just by doing something like one push up or four push ups, it takes less than 2 minutes to do. And then, of course, you start to create and build those habits. For your mental health, what you could do is write one sentence down per day for things that you are grateful for, and then take deep or 3 deep breaths before you respond to anything that's a stressful situation, because sometimes it kind of, we have the snowball effect when it talks about, stress. One thing piles on another thing, and now we're completely overwhelmed. So try to take 3 deep breaths before you respond to a stressful situation, because that helps you to, have a better or more clear head. And then in terms of your social health, like we talked about yesterday, text one friend a positive message and smile at a stranger. Smile at a stranger. It's okay to, walk past people and smile and keep it moving, because sometimes that smile makes you feel better, but it also makes the person that you're smiling at feel a little bit better too, right? Now, I'm not saying you have to engage in conversation or anything, but just smile. It helps to improve your overall mood. Okay. So now let's move on to the role of identity and habit formation. So I want you to think about who you are as a person when it comes to trying to form habits. So when you think about this sentence, I am a person who what's. I am a person who what's when you're thinking about habits. Comment in the chat. I am a person who what's when you think about habit formation. And I'll give you an example. I am a person who moves daily, right? So think about the person that you want to be. Think about the person, the identity that you want to have or that you want to show. I am a person who what's. I am a person who moves daily. I am a person who drinks water regularly. I am a person who um, monitors portion control, right? So think about the person that you want to be and start formulating a sentence or an affirmation that you can start to try to identify with now. Okay. Does that make something or does that make sense? Is that something you think you can stick with or that you can do? Is that something you think that you can do? I am a person who moves daily. I am a person who smiles. I am a person who lives a stress-free life. I am a person who affirms positive thoughts, things like that. Okay. And so when you do things like that, it helps you to become a little bit more aware of who it is that you want to be. Okay. So we talked about that. All right. So, what I really want you to try to do now that we've talked about these habits and how we can improve our habits for our mental health, physical health, social health, things of that nature, I want to encourage you to try to pick one habit or one micro habit that you can focus on this week, which I think some people have already commented on. One small micro habit that you can do, that you can focus on this week. And remember, it doesn't have to be anything massive or anything that's extremely overwhelming, because at the end of the day, small steps help to lead to long-term change. Okay. Small steps help to lead to long-term change. Okay. Motivation comes from action, not the other way around. Okay. So as long as you are getting up and you're getting like you're, doing small habits, then you are on the right track. Okay. All right. All right. So now there was some assignments that you had to do as well. Mm. I want you to, number one, I want you to try to commit to a positive habit that you can do this week. I want you to kind of think about it. If you don't want to post it in the chat now, that's fine. But I want you to think about a a habit, a positive habit that you can do this week, starting off this week, that you can do that's going to help to improve your overall health. And again, make it something that's small, habit stack, so that you can, make sure that you get it done and you don't become overwhelmed if it's something that you don't, if it's something that's too massive. Make sure that your goals are somewhat small. And now we are going to conclude today's lecture with the best habit stacking trip for weight loss, which would happen to be drinking water before you eat your meal. Okay. That's one of the best habit stacking tricks that you can use for weight loss. Drink water before your meal. So, and you will tell yourself in your head, again, as a positive affirmation, before I eat a meal, I will drink a full glass of water. Okay. So, why does this work? It works because number one, it helps to reduce overeating. Okay. You don't overeat because drinking water before your meals helps you to control hunger overall, and it helps to prevent overeating. Number two, it helps to boost your metabolism. A lot of people don't realize how important water is for all of the integral processes that happen in the body. Water is an integral part. And of course, boosting metabolism is one of them that is tied to water. So if you stay hydrated, your body is able to, it's able to improve its fat burning processes. Okay. So you definitely want to do that. Number three, it helps to create a natural pause. So what does that mean? It gives your body a chance to recognize that you are full before diving into the food. Sometimes we eat, and before you know it, we're over full, and we're over full because those signals that our stomach sends to our brain, they're kind of off, and so you tend to eat way too much because you're over full. So when you are drinking water, it helps to create that natural pause so that you don't have to, or you don't end up eating too much. And then lastly, it's easy to remember. You are already eating meals every day anyway, and so it wouldn't be that much more difficult to just add in a glass of water before you have your meal. Okay. And so for extra weight loss tips, you can try to drink cold water because your body tends to burn additional calories to kind of help warm it up. Okay. So before you have your next meal tonight, if you haven't eaten dinner yet, it's 7:30. So if you haven't eaten dinner yet, before you eat your next meal, drink a full glass of water first. Okay. So I want you to try to, think about all of the things that we discussed today for this evening's lecture and try to apply them. There is an easy assignment that is posted in the program for those of you who are, tuned into that. And are there any questions that you have before we conclude today's lecture? All right. Well, since there are no questions, this will conclude today's lecture on habit stacking. I am so grateful for you all here this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, you can comment below. Other than that, I want you all to have an amazing rest of your evening. Bye.